In this video, we are discussing the organizational profile question P1B3. This is all about your organization's key suppliers. In the bronze application, this question was really simple. It said, who are your suppliers of goods? Who are your suppliers of services? Like, what are your most important suppliers of goods and services? The silver application, man, does this get more and more involved, this question especially. What are your key types of suppliers? This is of both goods and services. So we're looking for both goods and services. And by the way, key, you're going to see it again and again and again, means most important. And the other thing that I would just invite you to consider, anytime I see the word key, I think the number 3. Key means 3. 3. Give us just 3 of your most important suppliers or of goods or services. What are your 3 most important types of partners? And by the way, we're not looking for the names of organizations or names of companies. We're simply looking for products. So like the one of the most important types of suppliers of goods for us in our home is medical supplies. Same with food supplies, right? Like you can just say medical supplies, food supplies, that kind of thing. What are your key types of partners? This is not a who question. It's a what question. What are your key types of partners and collaborators? What is the difference between a partner and a collaborator? The big difference between what a partner and a collaborator is, generally speaking, is time and scope. Meaning, a partner is somebody, usually this is a long-term partnership. It's a long-term agreement. It's somebody that you have a contract with. They're a long-term partner. Whereas a collaborator is generally short-term. And it's usually maybe, not always, but sometimes it's project-based. It's project-based, meaning you're collaborating with somebody to work on a project, whereas a partner is somebody you partner with long-term to provide a service. Or like for us with rehab, we have a long-term partnership with a rehabilitation company to provide rehab services in our nursing home. That is a partner of ours. But then we're also in the midst of talking about refurbishing our center and adding an atrium, this offshoot kind of a end cap to one of our hallways, and it's going to require some construction. And so we have hired some architects to come out and start drawing plans, and they are collaborating with us to expand our center and to refresh. They're giving us some ideas on how we can upgrade our center and, new paint and paper and new furnishings, maybe some new flooring in some areas. They're a collaborator. It's a shorter term project-based partnership that we have, whereas a partner is somebody longer term. Just kind of think in those terms. And then what role, this whole idea of what role do they play, it's got a few factors in producing your healthcare services and delivering your healthcare services. And then finally, what role do they play in contributing and implementing innovation, which is meaningful change. And so these are the 3 backup questions. So the first, again, just to go back to the top, what are your most important key types of suppliers of goods and services? What are your key types of partners? What do for us, rehabilitation services is a key partner. Maybe you have a dietary service or a housekeeping service or a facility maintenance service, or maybe you have a relationship with somebody who offers back-end business, payroll services, that kind of thing. And then what are your key types of collaborators? And again, if you don't have any, you can simply say we don't currently have any collaborators. Totally fine, reasonable. If you don't have any, you don't have any. But don't ignore the questions, but simply say you simply don't have any key collaborators. And then here's the question, what role do they play? Who's they? Who is they? Well, they is your collaborators, your partners, and your suppliers. That's the they. We're talking about what role do these people play? Your suppliers, your partners, and your collaborators, what role do they play in helping you produce your key healthcare services and your support services? And anytime you see this word and, I know there's another word and here, but this is the most important and word. Most of the time when you see the word and, it is an indicator that there is another part of the question, is a separate question. So this question is two parts. What role do they play in producing key healthcare services, and what role do they play in producing your support services, other customer support services? So again, your supplier is helping you with the key healthcare services by making sure that you have the right equipment and you have the right supplies on hand. Services or partners help you produce quality outcomes and rehabilitation services or food services or business office services, right? Into delivering your either support services or your key healthcare services. Same with the word delivering. So one is producing, the next is delivering, and then the final, well, there's two questions, but the final one to this part is, what role do they play? They are your partners, suppliers, and collaborators. What role do they play in contributing to meaningful change, innovation? And I'll tell you that most of the time it's exposure, right? So most of the time what ends up happening is we have a supplier who comes in with a new product or a new service that they're offering, a new way of doing something that adds meaningful change to our business. Like, oh, that's interesting. Let's take a look at that. That's how so it's usually exposure to new ideas, new concepts, best practices outside of our center, outside of our purview. But because our partner, our collaborator, our suppliers are in many homes, oftentimes they get a view of things that we don't have. And so they share that view, and that often helps us with contributing it helps us identify key innovations that we could use in our own organization. Again, innovation means meaningful change. It doesn't necessarily mean technology, which is what a lot of people think it means, but not general, not only technology. And then what are your key supply networks? What are your key supplier network requirements? This is what your requirements are, not the requirements of the the company you're partnering with. Your requirements. And by the way, this question is right from the bronze. The bronze asked this question as well. So you already have the structure. You've already answered this question about what you expect from your suppliers, your collaborators, your partners. On-time delivery, open communication, good services, competitive pricing, whatever it is.